At 4:20 a.m., a radar call cuts through the carrier. Contact bearing 315, 180 miles, speed 450. A Russian Tu-95 with Kh-55s is inbound on the USS Ronald Reagan's battle group. 70 aircraft, 5,000 sailors, and one non-negotiable line, the 30-mile kill boundary. What happens when a nuclear-capable bomber edges toward that trigger? Stay with me. We'll break down the intercept, the ROE that governs it, and the exact moment the fighters are told to show them we're serious, and why that order comes seconds, not minutes, before the turn away. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. 30 miles changes the mood. Voices get shorter. Hands hover over switches. That ring is not arbitrary, it's the last clean seam where human judgment can still steer the day before machines take over.
We're just getting in these really very disturbing, incredible images, the video of Russian warplanes buzzing a U.S. Navy destroyer.
We would not have known that until after the first pass. So this is very serious escalation. It's also worthy to note, I believe there was a Polish helicopter on board.
At 20, you're already bleeding time. At 40, you're telegraphing panic and burning fuel and options. 30 buys a final challenge, a safe weapons posture, and a sliver of space to deconflict your own jets. Out ahead, the E-2D Hawkeye stitches the sky together. Its crew builds the first picture and pushes cues to everyone. Picket ships light their spy arrays and feed tracks into the net. In the carrier's Combat Information Center, consoles cross-check bearings and altitude and feed the bridge the threat axis.
The USS Cook in international waters in the Baltic Sea. You served as a pilot in the U.S. Air Force. How dangerous is this kind of situation?
2 points on that. Number one, 75 feet is actually really close, and this isn't typical operating procedures. If you want to show a force, it's usually not at 75 feet.
On deck, a quiet line of gray turns loud, engine spool, chocks lift, a cat stroke hurls steel forward. In minutes, you've raised a wall of speed. But then the question cuts. The bomber's missiles never have to cross the ring. Standoff weapons can launch far outside your comfort zone. So why does the ring still set the terms? Because your last, best leverage isn't distance to their trigger, it's pressure on the crew before they commit. The ring shapes what they believe they can get away with and how they weigh risk. The track builds like a drumbeat.
And the other issue is they were basically simulating a strafing run on our Navy ship.
Where these fighter jets actually come within 75 feet of the Cook.
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
Bearing call. Range call. Altitude call. No IFF reply. 4 turboprops. Slow and high. It looks like a bomber from the silhouette alone, but the rule's 4 steps. Hail on guard, warn in plain language, maneuver fighters to be seen, log every attempt. You treat it like a live blade and a test in the same breath. Context matters. A Kh-55 class cruise missile flies low, rides the Earth to stay hidden, and has versions meant for strategic targets. That reach warps every choice on your side.
The U.S. is also going to talk to its NATO allies because this is not just an issue for the U.S., it's an issue for all of NATO. And so this is part of that diplomatic as well as political dance and choreography where the Russians are trying to demonstrate that they can fight back, they can bite back.
You layer defenses to catch the shooter's tells, nose attitude, external stores, a sudden descent, but you still plan as if the button gets pressed at any moment. That's why the ring is a fuse on your process, not just a line on a map. The escort checks in as a pair and climbs. They don't spear in head-on. They bracket the approach, one high, one offset.
NATO forces have been strafed and challenged by the Russian armed forces in recent months. The Russians feel they have real interests at play. It's also part of a diplomatic and political game. These are symbolic actions, not to mention real military actions.
Riding the bomber's quarter at a polite but unmistakable angle. The goal is simple: box the track, hold a mirror to the crew, and give them a path to turn that doesn't cost pride. Escalation stays holstered as long as the other side keeps playing slow and level. Now the math tightens. Inbound speed around 450 knots means a mile vanishes in seconds you can count on one hand. Every call to the fighters, every query to the ship, every ROE check eats distance.
So no doubt there are going to be meetings with NATO partners to talk about how to posture, because you're not quite sure what the intent of these air forces from the Russian services, what they're trying to do. And so,
for the air boss and the tactical action officer, that compresses choices to 3: warn, maneuver, prepare to fire. There isn't a fourth. When the bomber refuses the hint, the fighters change tone. One slides forward and crosses the nose at a safe margin, letting the jet wash thump the cockpit. It's not a strike. It's a shove you can feel. The message reads clear in any language: turn now. That move sits inside the rules, but it's the edge of them, and both sides know it. The effect lands. The bomber banks, shallow at first, then steadier. Westing away from the ring is the tell that the crew wants the footage, not the fight. The escort holds position tight enough that any drift back toward the line earns another correction. No one touches a trigger. No one breaks the radio with bravado. It's measured and cold. They ride him out beyond 60 miles before easing off. The Hawkeye confirms the vector holds. Picket ships keep the track for a while, then drop it when the air looks clean again. The carrier draws down the launch posture and recovers the pair. Deck crew resets for the next cycle. Quiet returns, but it's the kind that listens. This pattern repeats for a reason: it trains crews, surfaces weak links, and sends a message that the ring is real. But the probe today flew on props and old doctrine. The next one won't. The ring held because time and tactics matched the threat's rhythm. Up next, we push that same playbook against a platform that shortens the clock and hides its hand. Deterrence at sea lives in seconds. An ROE ring, a fighter's nose angle, a turn that lands just in time. That's the currency. That's how a carrier stays safe without lighting a fuse. So what would you do at 31 miles? Escalate the escort early with a hard cross and jet wash, or hold one more call to keep the ladder short? Comment your choice below. If you want the tactical mindset that cuts through noise, subscribe now. These probes will return. Crews will test you. The ring will tighten, then hold, or crack. The answer rides on timing, restraint, and the will to stare back.